There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. Damn, what a hell of a view. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date, you're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight, don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase, so catch me if I fall.
Hello and welcome everybody. It is Monday night, which means it's full-time Sports Network time. I am joined as always by Rebel. How are you doing, mate?
Good evening. I am very good. Thank you very much. I am delighted to be here. I am fantastic. Thank you very much.
Awesome stuff. And we're joined by a special guest as well. Queen Ellie, how are you doing from the Tottenham?
I'm okay. Yeah, we're sort of reeling from that 2-3 defeat by Bournemouth. Bloody hell, what a disaster! Yeah, it wasn't very good.
We'll let you have a little talk about that in just a little bit. But before we do, we just need to do the housekeeping, Rebel.
Yes.
You're looking for it. Take it away from me, Rebel.
Yes. We are, of course, in partnership with Rate Energy. Rate Energy is an alternative to your off-the-shelf energy drinks and is soluble in water. We offer a code of 10% off using code FTSN22. So thank you very much, Rate, and I left it upstairs.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Right. Let's get into things, shall we? So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to bring up this, if you can see it. This is what it looks like, is the European place battle. Obviously there, Man United, Newcastle, Tottenham, Villa and Brighton. It's a very, very close battle at the minute. Not a lot of points separating. I'm glad to see that my outside pick is still there. You know, they're still marching on. Hopefully I won't have to eat those disgusting gummy bears. But I mean, I'll come to you first, Ellie. Are you surprised about the teams that are there?
I'm surprised Spurs are there, but the way we've been playing, we're very lucky to still be in contention, to tell you the truth. But Brighton didn't surprise me, not at all, because they play fantastic football. Aston Villa, they're a bit of a dark horse. They're coming up with Unai Emery, aren't they? They're making a late surge. I think they're even going to overtop us because we've got to play them as well. So, and they beat us at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium earlier this season, quite convincingly as well. Yeah.
Interesting. Rebel, Ellie was saying obviously Villa are the dark horses. We knew when Unai came in, we'd see a different Villa. Is he living up to what was expected, or do you think he's far surpassing what was, touted?
Well, I think what you have to look at it is, at the start of the season, they were massively underachieving for the squad of players that they had. They had probably had an over surplus of players, if you will, even in some positions. And I don't think the gaffer knew what he was doing with them, I'll be honest with you. Q, his sacking, and Unai coming in, he trimmed the fat where he needed to. He made one or two changes to staff personnel, and we're now seeing the fruits of that. Last year is Newcastle that went on the charge late. They didn't quite make the European going, but Villa, they're a good solid side. Interestingly, I just want to mention Brighton for a second. Out of all the teams, they're probably the only team in that list at the moment that probably couldn't resist their bones getting picked by the bigger sides should they come picking for their European games next season. I think Brighton would find it difficult to stop a Mitoma bid coming in or any of their other prize acquisitions. I know they're trying to get Evan Ferguson to sign a new contract, the Irishman, but at the same time, if Harry Kane leaves for another destination, Spurs are probably going to turn around and just go, yeah, we'll have you, please.
I mean, it would be a very, very good replacement, in all fairness. I don't know what you think of him, Ellie.
Well, Matoma, I like him. I like his movement. I like his energy. Very skillful player. Scored a good goal against us that shouldn't have been disallowed. I just like his enthusiasm for football. He goes on that pitch and you can really see that he loves playing football. Yeah, and he's in a very exciting Brighton team that create a lot of chances for him as well. Yeah.
Yeah, very true. I mean, I'm sorry to do this to you, but we are going to go on to this little topic here. The Spurs and Newcastle stumble. Obviously, Aston Villa surprising everybody at the weekend. That was the coupon buster, if I do say so myself, beating Newcastle 3-0. I don't know whether you've saw the match or the highlights, Rebel. Villa just completely dominated.
Do you know, Newcastle have been a strange side this year. At the start, they went on a big run. They were difficult to break down, weren't conceding much. And since the turn of the year, we're kind of seeing Jekyll and Hyde with Newcastle. When they're great, they're really great. But when they go down like an absolute mess. Aston Villa, again, by their squad, it's not really surprising that they turn around and batter someone. But to batter a team that have not given up normally more than a goal a game against their opposition, that is surprising. The Villa win, not so much. The battering, the humbling, absolutely. Yeah. And I think there could be issues down the line. We talked about squad depth for quite a while in a number of teams. We know what our limitations are as United fans beyond the starting 11. And I think Newcastle, unfortunately for them, suffer a bit from the same legacy.
Very true. I mean, it was a bit of a hard one to actually. I had to double take when I watched it because this was a Newcastle side that literally made Manchester United, a team that we both support fully with our heart, look like a Sunday League team. You know, they absolutely picked us apart, and then to see this result, it was a bit of a shock for me. Ellie, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to let you talk about your Spurs. A disappointing result again for you. What seems to be going off?
Do you know what it is? I think they get ahead and then they sit back and they invite danger. And we haven't got I think we got the third worst defence in the league. The 15th worst defence in the league, and they're not the best at defending. And then poor Sanchez comes on and they boo him. So that sort of puts the dampers on things and gets to the players. You could see they were all upset by it, not just Sanchez. And they just switched off for both of their goals. I mean, for the late ones, that's what I mean, not for the first half one. But, it's just... There's a lack of confidence. There's a lack of passing, lack of movement up front. They don't seem like Conte said, they're very selfish players. They don't play for one another. And, when you do that, you come unstuck. You really do.
I mean, obviously, as you know, I'm in the chat quite a lot and I do participate, obviously, when you guys do the show. So I'm there pretty much all the time when you go live. And I always have my little say. I always have my little say. Is it more of a case of the wrong managers have been in, or is it a case of, the team isn't growing as expected? The players coming in aren't the right players.
No, I just think, right, it's a lot of combinations of things, but there's quite a hierarchy inside the team, right? So when we got a free kick, Richarlison got a free kick and Porro was standing over. We know he's fabulous at free kicks. We know Sonny's really good. Perisic steps up, whacks it over the bar, so he takes precedence over the other two boys. right? If I was in that team, I would say, no, I'm taking it. You know, I'm better than you at taking free kicks. I'm a proven free kick taker. Even Sonny scored for South Korea some fabulous free kicks, you know, and it was in the right side for Sonny to take it or to Porro, because they're both right. Well, Sonny can do left foot or right foot, you know. So I was really upset about that. And when it went over the bar, you should have heard the obscenities in my section. I stand in a section which are very vocal when Spurs are playing pretty poorly. And we've been playing pretty poorly at White Hart Lane. I think we've lost, that's our fourth or fifth loss at home, you know. I just feel it's very disappointing, and they're not working for one another. You know, they're not working as a team, and they need to get that back together. Because when we played Man City, I don't know if you watched that match, and Chelsea, we've really played well, and they gelled, and we played as a team. We didn't have the possession, but we played as a team.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Can I ask a question, actually, as we were talking about Tottenham? Firstly,
Yeah.
I'd like to say Son, one of my favourite Premier League players, loved his style of play, and I actually feel sorry for him this season because he is far better than the account he's showing of himself.
Yeah.
But what I wonder now, obviously, as you look to the post-Conte era, you've got a squad that is set up for a defensive-minded manager. The midfielders that he's got are very much defensive first focused midfielders. There's probably some areas like the goalkeeper and some of the defenders that you need changing. How difficult will it be for the next manager to come in, number one, deal with possibly losing his star striker and maybe Son as a result of losing that star striker, and also addressing the fact that he could have a squad of players that are not attuned to the way he wants to play?
Yeah, he'll have to do a complete overhaul. If it's someone like Vincent Company that I really admire in his first season at Burnley, all right, be it that it's in the Championship, but he's impressed and he's pulverised that league, isn't he? He's already qualified to come up for promotion. So he'll have to have a complete overhaul, a bit similar to what Poch did in his first year or so. You know, he picked out the players, got rid of the ones that he didn't want, and created a team that was very exciting to watch. That's what we're all pining to see, exciting football that wins football games. And we want to win some trophies. We haven't won a trophy for 15 years, lads. That's not good for Spurs. And in 22 years, one trophy only. That's not right. That's not right.
I mean, obviously, I've got friends, I've got family who are Spurs fans. You know, they told me about the past. You know, Spurs glory and everything in the past. I just want to see that back at Tottenham. You know, I mean, as you know, United are going through a hard time, but I imagine things at Spurs feel a lot worse because obviously we have won trophies. We've won a trophy this season. It's been a long time for Spurs fans. How much is that actually affecting the mood through the Spurs fan base?
Yeah, because we're all pining to win a trophy, because I come from an era where we were winning trophies regularly, you know, and my dad as well. He grew up with us winning the double, doing things in Europe, you know, and now we're nowhere near it. I mean, we're qualifying for Champions League. We made the final under Poch, but we lost it. So, and we've got close a lot of times. I think we've made 8 semi-finals. We've made 3 League Cup finals and lost them all. We've against you guys, we lost on penalties. Against Man City, we only lost 1-0. And against Chelsea, we lost by 1 goal as well. So it's not as if we're getting pulverised, but you know, we've got to get it over the line. I don't see. I'm with Conte. He says they're selfish players. You've got to play as a team to give yourself half a chance, and they're not. You know, there's no movement in the team up front until Richie and Danjuma came on. They were very stale up front, and they weren't moving for one another, right? And that did make a difference. So against Newcastle, I want to see us play Danjuma and Richie, and then drop Perisic and let Son do that role, because Perisic He's a good player, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't performed at his level for us. And he tires a lot and he can't cover the defensive work either. He tries, but he just can't cover it.
Ellie, you spoke about trophies and missed opportunities. Obviously, a number of years ago,
Yeah.
you had Mr. Jose Mourinho, a serial trophy winner, in charge. Now, obviously, his time at Tottenham, he had issues, and he was probably going to lose his job regardless of what happened. But
Yeah.
in terms of the fact that you were about to play a cup final, something that he won, how much responsibility did the executive take? Because at the end of the day, whether they appointed and sacked somebody at that stage of the season, it probably wasn't going to make much of a difference. But would you have had more of a chance with Jose still at the wheel in that cup final, do you think? And did Dan Levy cost you a cup?
Yeah. Because he doesn't care about the League Cup. He just wanted to qualify for the European spots. And in that season, I think we qualified for the Europa Cup. So, and the following season we qualified for the conference. But the thing is, what board in their right mind sacks a manager 6 days before a final? It's football suicide, and all the players they're going to be thinking, bloody hell, what are we going to do now? We haven't got no manager. And then they appoint a rookie in Ryan Mason. And he plays his mates. And the mistake in that final is that Lucas Moura, who was playing fabulous, he took him off. I couldn't believe it, because he was the only one of our players that was playing any half decent football. The rest of them, they were like defending most of the game because Man City were peppering us, So I was very upset about that, to win a trophy, it's amazing. It doesn't matter what trophy it is. It's a trophy at the end of the day. All right. I know some fans say it's the Mickey Mouse trophy, but it creates confidence in a club. It raises the bar, and it gives leading into the next season. You put a trophy in your cabinet, and you should be proud of that.
100%.
Very upset at Daniel Levy doing that.
I've got to agree with you 100%. A trophy's a trophy at the end of the day. But we'll move on a little bit. Rebel, I'm going to come to you for this one. United certain for top 4. Now, obviously, United won 2-0. And before you go into this, I just want to say something, because I get angry with a lot of people over certain treatment of certain players. Now, many people, including Sky Sports, gave Bruno Fernandes man of the match. Fair enough, he had a good game. Everywhere else I've seen has given Anthony man of the match. If that was Marcus Rashford who put out that performance, because he's got an English passport, he would have got man of the match. What's going on with the whole Anthony and people not seeming to like him? So he did amazing. I think you're muted, mate.
I think the message with that column is it suits a narrative for the media. Now, I know Bruno's not English, but Bruno's been there for a while and he kind of hit the ground running. There's an agenda against Anthony, against Mudryk, and against, there was one other one anyway that came in for a big price, or Darwin Núñez. And they've been hammering at them all season long. And now when the lad starts to kind of acclimatise to it, they're trying to dismiss it as flash in the pan and whatnot. But look, Anthony will do his talking with his feet, and he'll be making them eat their words. I remember when a young Cristiano Ronaldo arrived at Manchester United, there was a pundit here by the name of Eamon Dunphy, and he was always on with Johnny Giles and Ian Brady on Irish television. And he used to call Ronaldo a show pony, a fraud, and everything under the sun. And he was forced to eat that humble pie. And I have no doubt with Mudryk, with Anthony, and with Núñez, they'll be making their haters eat that humble pie. But in terms of your top 4 question, no, we're not certain of it. We've been enduring quite a lot of injuries of late. And it depends on how we navigate that dodgy maze of injuries. Now, we had good news that Garnacho is out of his boot and is able to wear normal shoes again. What that means as to whether or not he comes back for end of season, Who knows? We got Ericsson back, which is a big, big plus because Scott McTominay, with all due respect to the lad, he's fine in a fashion. He suits a certain system, but not ours. I'd play Fred before him. I'd play Ericsson before him. I'd play Zidane Bal before him. I'd play Cullum before him. I just don't think he suits our system. Harry Maguire, I often said, even though I do wind up on Monday a bit, I always said that if Harry Maguire was at Tottenham and playing a Conte 3 at the back, the man would be a superstar. He'd be a brick wall that would be stopping everything in front of him. And it's just the style of play that he's best suited to. It's nothing to do with whether he's a good player or not. He's playing in the Premier League, for God's sake. He has to be some bit decent. But Manchester United, we are suffering from the enviable task of having been playing in 4 competitions. I love the fact that we were playing 4 competitions, but Manchester United, with the squad that they have, it's going to catch up to you. The only good thing for us at the moment is Newcastle are stumbling and faltering. Spurs haven't really got off the starting blocks this year, and in other years would have been well and truly clear and third at this point because they would have got their goals and they would have picked up their points. Liverpool and Chelsea are having the seasons of nightmare in terms of what they're used to as of late. Are Manchester United in a good position? Yes, they are. But I do worry about where the goals come from. Martial, when fit, is a great addition to the side. But the key words, when fit. And that is where I worry.
Indeed. Right, what we're going to do now is we're going to get onto the topic. This is what the thumbnail is all about. Who gets European football? So obviously we know the Champions League spots are up for grabs, the Europa League and the Conference League. We're going to start with Spurs' fixtures that I'm going to bring up onto the screen here.
Yeah.
So Newcastle, Manchester United, Liverpool, Palace, Villa, Brentford, and then if I get rid of that, Leeds. Ellie, you're currently sat on 53 points. What do you make of them? How many points are you getting?
Right, let's add them up. I'm pretty good at maths. Right, so yeah, I'll do it in my head and then I'll give you the figure. Right.
No worries.
I think we get 10 points out of that lot. Maximum.
10 points.
Yeah.
Interesting. Rebel.
If Newcastle hadn't been humbled the last day, I'd have actually said Spurs beat Newcastle. But given that Newcastle now are hurting, I think no points there. I think a draw from us, 1. They don't beat Liverpool. They beat Palace. They draw against Villa, so 3, 4, 5. They beat Brentford, 8. And they beat Leeds, 11.
11. So you take them up to...
That Leeds game is a bit...
64 points for the season. Interesting. We'll move on to, let's go Villa. So Villa have Brentford, Fulham, United, Wolves, Spurs, Liverpool, and Brighton. Rebel.
Okay.
10. I think they take 14 points.
14? That put on 63. 1 point behind Spurs. Ellie?
I'll give them 13.
13. You're making me do math now. Jesus.
I just added it up very quickly.
53. 63, isn't it?
62. So 62. Again, 1 point behind Spurs. There's a little bit of a pattern going off here, I'm telling you. Brighton, they've got obviously 2 games, one against Man City, one against Newcastle to be rearranged. Forest, Wolves, United, Everton, Arsenal, Southampton, and Villa. Ellie.
Right. So let's count them up. I'll give them 15.
15. So they're on 65. After that, Rebel.
64 if you give them 15. They're on 49 points currently.
No, they're on 50 points.
No, that's Villa.
Oh, yeah, it is Villa. Ignore me.
And I actually was giving them the same. So
Yeah, I counted them up well. See, we're in sync.
So 49. What did we say? How many points?
They got some hard games, Brian.
we said 49, 15, so 64.
64.
And I think you'd done Villa out of a point then, if I'm correct.
Probably. Not gonna lie. I can't remember what we did, Villa.
We had them at 63 actually. Sorry, never mind. They're grand.
63.
Yeah. And we had Tottenham at
64.
64, yeah.
So Brighton and Tottenham both on 64. Interesting, very interesting.
Goal difference, isn't it?
And Brighton's goal difference is better currently.
It is currently as
Much
well,
better.
yeah. It is. Let's go
Yeah.
to Newcastle.
Right.
Newcastle is sat on 56. They've got Brighton, Spurs, Everton, Southampton, Arsenal, Leeds, Leicester, and Chelsea.
14 for me, which takes them to 70.
I'll give them 15.
So 71.
Okay, the last one is obviously United, who play Chelsea, Spurs, Villa, Brighton, West Ham, Wolves, Bournemouth, and Fulham.
16 for me, which takes us to
75.
I'll give you 17.
17, we're on 76. So judging by obviously what our panelists have said, the top four will be Arsenal, Manchester City, Manchester United, and Newcastle.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
Then Spurs, Brighton, and Villa.
So Spurs and Brighton will come down to goal difference on our picking.
Yes, Spurs and Brighton will come down to goal difference.
Yeah.
So goal difference could play factor on who gets Europa League and who gets conference on those ones.
Is it the fifth and the fifth team goes Europa and the sixth team
Actually,
goes
the sixth
or is it
team
the fifth and
goes,
sixth go Europa?
United's
I don't know.
United's cup place goes back to the league because we obviously if we qualify for Champions League, is it a conference place or Europa place was with the League Cup?
I think the seventh place is conference, isn't it? And I think fifth and sixth is Europa.
It's only fifth initially, but then it depends on whether European qualifications come back from the cups.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
So United will come back.
Conference League. So
the sixth spot is Conference League.
Because United have won the cup, and if United qualify for the Champions League, their Conference League spot goes back in.
Right.
And even if we qualify for Europa, it goes back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
Well done for Man United.
And
the League Cup.
I believe there's a League Cup space for the FA Cup. So if City and United are both in the final, that's a Europa spot that comes back in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's really hard. It's really hard to determine who's going to get what with all these cups. spots coming back in as well. But I am going to keep an eye on. I'm going to keep an eye on these, because if you guys get the points pretty much spot on and it ends like that, I'm coming to both of you for the lottery numbers. Because it's ridiculously hard to determine, like it's about as tough as it is to see who's going to get relegated. But I am cautious of the time, and I know, Rebel, you have to go do another show very shortly. So I am going to wrap things up there. So thank you, Ellie. If you want to tell people where they can find you, Ellie.
Yeah, you can find me at THFC Till I Die with Dermot, Philip and Mia. And then you can find me on the Irish Hotspur as well. A lot of the time I'm on their fan shows. I get invited on their show. And I'm on various shows throughout the YouTube community as well. Whoever invites me on. I particularly like United Spurs of America. Obviously, the Irish Hotspurs, where I first started this love affair of YouTube and streaming. And THFC Till I Die, we've got a lot of brilliant shows coming up. So please tune in. Please subscribe.
Fantastic stuff. Yeah, make sure you go over there and show some love to the Tottenham guys. We'll hopefully get you back on soon. Rebel?
Well, as always, I'm here like a bad smell. You can't get rid of me. And I also am on the United Agenda, and we will be live tonight at 8:30. We will be talking all things Glazier shenanigans. We will be talking about the Team of the Season nominations, and Ten Hag talks what qualities he likes in a striker.
Right. Very interesting. So make sure you tune in over there as well. Obviously, I'm always here every Monday, every Tuesday. You can't get rid of me either. I'm an even worse smell than what Rebel is. But I know there's football going off very, very shortly. So if you're a Liverpool fan or a Leeds fan, enjoy that game. As for us, it's been a fantastic show. Thank you, everybody. And we hope you have a wonderful time. Good night.
Brilliant.